Welcome to the West Business Development Center. My name is Kelly Geiser, and I'm the event coordinator here at West, hosting today's webinar, Artists in Action, Pricing Your Art. West is a nonprofit funded by the Federal Small Business Administration Agency program, and we are both a women's business center and small business development center for Mendocino and Lake County. Through federal and state agencies matched with local contributions, it is your tax dollars that allow us to provide our services to you for free. Our services include one-on-one counseling, webinars, loan package readiness, and advising to small business owners and entrepreneurs at every stage of business development. We also have a pool of expert advisors that cover niche business needs from permitting to HR and e-commerce. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a West client, please visit our website or give our office a call. This is our disclaimer. Basically, today's webinar is for educational and informational purposes. You can read this in more detail on our website. And just an additional note, we are recording today's webinar and it will be sent out to all registrants. If you do miss the email, we do always post our recordings onto our website, and I will post that link to our past webinars to everyone. But please do keep an eye out in your inbox or possibly spam box for this email with the link to the recording. Without further ado, I'd love to present Bob and Kate Burridge.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly.
Great
Yeah, you know, those spam and junk folders, they're just, they overflow with stuff. Whenever I send emails out, I'm always wondering if they're going to make it
to
the person or into the spam or junk. So I will echo what Kelly just said. Always check those folders because amazing things end up in them. But we're so happy that you joined us today. Thank you so much. It's great to see your names and your locations coming through too. So I appreciate that. I do want to say before we get rolling with this, and this is one of the more popular webinars that we've been doing. Our experience comes from the US, and I noticed there are some people that are taking the webinar from other countries. You can, of course, get good information from this, but you know, when we talk about certain things, it could be simply US based. So bear that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Bear that in mind. So Bob, is there anything you want to say before we
I think it's all important
started?
information, no matter what language it is.
Yeah.
I mean, marketing is marketing and pricing is pricing, and we take it from there. We can talk about from our experience, and we've been doing it for close to 30 some years, and pricing our artwork, and boy, did we learn an awful lot. And so much so that I think it's important to kind of pass it on to you, and you can kick it around. But at least we're coming from our own experience of selling, keyword, selling our artwork. Big difference.
Big difference.
You can price it all you want, but selling it too. Pricing it at the right price.
So you can put $1 million price tag on your art, right? You can only do that.
You can only sell with just one. Wouldn't that be
So,
nice?
so Kelly, let's go ahead and get the first slide going so we can start this party. So when we do this webinar as an in-person workshop, which I love doing because I love working hands-on with everybody too, we always ask this first question. And I say, okay, I want to see hands. So let's do that now. Okay, so I want to see hands. How many of you want to sell your work? Okay, hands. All right. So if you do want to sell it, you're in the right place. I mean, that could be a duh kind of thing to say, but you know, there are a lot of artists out there who they don't think they're ready to sell their work. They don't want to sell it. They don't want that pressure.
And that end experience, well, now the painting's done, now I have to sell it. And they avoid that part just because of lack of experience. I think today, some of the stories that we talk about and examples might help you out when you get to a particular situation in you and selling your work.
Just like it says on the first little bit there, if you have that knowledge, if you have a clear and concise pricing structure, then you don't have that emotional trigger. If somebody comes up to you and they see your artwork and they go, oh my gosh, that's amazing. How much is it? And you go, well, I think it might.
It's in here somewhere.
You've lost them.
Lost.
They're gone. They've moved on. But if you have something that is clear and concise, you have a price list, you know how much things are according to size, that gives such a confidence level
in you, and also selling your work.
And also in the clientele, because you know they're thinking,
boy.
oh dear, what are they gonna say? So if you have this business air about you, and that's kind of where the pricing is all coming from. So having that pricing structure, that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Because how do you put a price on your favorite children? Right? I mean, I love this painting so much, I'm going to charge millions of dollars. You see how that it really mess you up an awful lot.
Exactly.
So we're going to show you how you can put a price on your children.
Yeah, and so basically we say divorce yourself from your creation. Divorce yourself from that artwork. Say, okay, I'm ready to sell it. It's going to go on the market. So therefore, okay, bring them on. Bring on that customer. And it will help remove that trigger. Then you have to look at your artwork in the cold commercial light.
Because that's the business you're in, whether you like it or not. You're in the business of selling your artwork.
And so basically, you are going to come up with your own base price. And as you can see on the slide that you're looking at right now, what we've broken it down to is your pricing is based on just a few of those bullet points there. It's based on your experience. How long have you been in the game? What have you been doing? Have you been painting for 20 years or have you been painting for 2 days? So you want to have that just in your pocket based on your experience. Now it's also based on your selling history. So basically, if you have sold work, you already have a pricing structure in place. If you haven't sold anything, well, hey, the slate's clean and you can just get started now. If you sold a while ago and you're not quite sure what's going on with the art market, you can basically say, okay, it's a clean slate for me too. So these are things that you can look at in your own toolkit to see where you are. Now, pricing, we learned when we started working with a really big deal commercial gallery. We learned that the size of the artwork is key to the whole thing in pricing. We will talk about that as we get more into it. We'll be telling you some things that you're probably doing. We'll tell you some things that you're not going to be surprised at all. And we might be telling you some things that you will be surprised at. So
they make you squirm a little bit.
Yeah.
You said, but I've heard this, and we're going to tell you what works for us.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right.
And you know, any webinar that you can take on marketing and pricing or website, do it, because you're going to learn something new from everybody. And you'll learn some things that you'll want to try. You'll learn some things that, well, no, maybe I don't want to do it that way, but you will get something out of every single webinar that you take.
But at least make a decision that you're going to do that. Then it might have been, no, I don't need to know any of this information anymore. At least one last thing for you have to learn. And you're getting closer to your core of what works and what doesn't work.
Exactly.
Right.
So after the size of the of the artwork, I'm totally into pricing right now.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Pricing is also based on the substrate. As we go through this, you'll see that we have a couple of different pricing structures for works on paper and then works on canvas, board, panels. So we'll discuss all of that. And also pricing is based on medium, and it's the perceived value where we go, from where we start. So first you have to establish your base price. Now, we're going to tell you a story. Bob's going to tell you the story of when we were at an art festival. It was like the first thing out of the gate. And
we had no experience. We didn't know anything. We were so naive.
We were on a wait list.
We were on a wait list, and the last minute says you're in. And oh my gosh, this is how naive.
Like the Beverly Hillbillies, we packed up the truck, and there we went. And we were on our way to LA to show work.
Yeah.
And my gosh, we didn't.
We tell you this story to let you know that we could be complete idiots too, but it's a true story at the beginning. So we get to the place and we hang our paintings. And about an hour before the gates opened up, before all the people come charging in, the paintings are up. Kate turns to me and says, "This is true." She turned to me and she said, "What should we sell these things for?" Talk about last minute thinking. What should we sell?
What should we?
I didn't know.
Do we have a price list? Yeah.
So I said, "Listen, we only have an hour."
Small detail.
Little detail. So I said, "I know what I'll do. I'll run around, look at everybody else's artwork that's in my same category." At that time, it was a watercolor. I was doing watercolors, and I'll look at the prices. So I saw some really big name paintings and artists, and they were selling their full sheets for a couple thousands of dollars. Well, I didn't have that name or that reputation or experience, so I couldn't sell my pieces for that amount of money. Also, I just didn't feel right about it.
Yeah.
And then I kept running around some more, and I saw some that I didn't think they came up to the same experience that I've had, and I liked my paintings better, and their price was way, way, way low. So be honest with you, I established both of those and came up right in the middle. I said, that's my base price. That's my retail price for a full sheet.
So Kelly, go ahead and let's get the next slide, because now we're going to dovetail into this formula. Okay, so we like to say there is no exactly a perfect formula, but if you have a rule of thumb, if you say, okay, I have established that my retail price is going to be, now we're going to do this as this says here, the numbers kind of work for the square inch, for a full sheet of watercolor paper, that's the 23 by 30. So we're going to price it, kind of by the square inch, but we're going to say, okay, this full sheet of watercolor paper is going to retail for $1,200.
We've established that now. It's not iffy. We write that down. All right.
Okay.
Now we can go from there.
So basically, it's all math after that. So if you're looking at $1,200 for a full sheet of watercolor paper, what does a half sheet of watercolor paper sell for? Yes, that's right. I don't see anybody in the chat going, okay, we think it's this, but okay, yeah, it's $600. So what about a quarter sheet?
Quarter sheet, $250. Is that right?
Nope, that's not right, Bob.
Did I do my math
You
wrong?
did your math wrong.
Watch me. I just did my math wrong.
I think that quarter sheet would be $300.
Yes, that's exactly.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Well, and
I don't have my mathematician's hat on today.
that's right.
We just want to know if
Well,
everyone
and that's
was
why
paying attention. Thus, the calculator.
That's the calculator. That's the
That's
calculator.
so funny.
So now price per square inch.
Yeah.
I don't exactly say, okay, it's $1.46 per square. I don't do it that way. But what I will do is I will break down what the square inch is. And then I will compare it to other sizes that we do. Because, when we say you're pricing by the square inch, that basically means that all of the full sheets, all of the 23 by 30s are going to be the same.
It's like selling carpeting. You see, now it's mathematic, and you don't have to hem and haw and look up and scratch your head. It's right there, very clear. And more importantly, the consumer understands that. Also, it's a bookkeeping nightmare too, if you start having the same size painting all different sizes. Can you imagine the bookkeeping nightmare?
Well, and
Yeah.
Bob says in his painting workshops too, sometimes it'll take you weeks to complete a painting.
Yeah,
And other times you'll nail it in 20 minutes.
and you know you can.
Yeah, and so, you don't really want to take into consideration time spent, because that is such a nebulous
Yeah.
kind of pricing structure. If you do it just by the size, it's all going to end up equal.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why people always ask you after they see your painting, what's the next question they ask? How long did it take you to do that? See, their mentality here is about, you've got to put a price on this guy's hourly fee.
Yeah, no,
Right?
you don't
I mean,
have
that's
to
how
do that.
they think. Don't go that, please don't go that direction.
And that I love that question, because there are so many perfect answers. How long did it take you to do that painting?
The whole time.
I like that one. Or a lifetime.
The lifetime. Yeah.
Exactly. And we will be talking about commission work a little bit later on in this, and
Okay.
about discounts and everything. So if you do have questions along those lines, just please hang on to them and we'll get there.
Mhm.
If we forget, I know you'll remind us, so that'll be great. So this sensible price structure, we always go to retail. We always established it as a retail price, and retail is when you sell direct to public. Retail does not take in mind gallery commissions or juried show
Or
commissions.
framing,
Yeah, it is strictly the
painting,
piece. That's
just the painting.
Yep.
Okay.
so on your price structure. If it's too high, it's going to really limit your market. If you're not a known name and you're trying to sell your work for thousands and thousands of dollars, people will go, I don't know. I don't,
Yeah.
who is this? It's just not going to work. But if it's too low,
It has no value. And that's a lot of artists will do that when they first come out. They're just too low. They don't never realize how important art is to other people too. Because you were able to do it within a quick amount of time, you think it has no value. On the contrary, it has a lot of value.
it has a lot of value. And the thing about it, of pricing it really low, the thought that most people will have is, what's wrong with it?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So if you have a full sheet of watercolor paper and maybe you have it for $250 or $300, folks will go, wow, is it a print?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they won't even think that it's an original if it has too low.
Yeah.
And so don't start out going really low. But
Just-
I do have to say, I'm going to talk out of the other side of my mouth right now.
Okay.
I would prefer to start on the low side and then get my customer base going, because once you get people purchasing, then as you get that client base established, then you can start to raise your prices. So
After you have a track record of selling it at that point.
So bear that in mind. And
Mhm.
as soon as you figure, well, okay, I am selling out my shows. This is really great. Your price is your price. That's something that you're going to hear us say a
Mhm.
lot today. Your price is your price. You can begin to think about raising, because you don't want to lower.
And you don't want to lose the existing client base that you already have.
Mhm.
They've already seen your work. They like this. And so all of a sudden you can't spike your paintings. Oh, they're selling. I'm going to, charge 5 times more. You just lost that whole market right there.
Exactly.
But I saw a question. It's a good time to jump in here about what size is a full sheet. When we refer to a full sheet watercolor paper, it's generally 22 inches by 30 inches. So that's established the full sheet. So a half of that.
Yeah.
would be half price.
22 by 29, 22 by 30, 23 by 30. It's not exact. It depends on manufacturer, and the molds and all that stuff. So it's right around in there, absolutely. And if you'll notice, the last paragraph on this particular slide talks about that perceived value
Oh, boy.
in the art market. And we did not make this up. This is perceived throughout history.
Oil paintings have always been revered and always put in the top as far as a value. And just because people assume that oil paints will last longer. Well, that's true too. So will acrylic paints, but they don't want, it's just that, oh, I have an oil paint, so that has more value to it. So there's a perceived value that if you have an oil painting, it's whoa. And did you want to add?
I do want to add to that. It's the galleries promote this a lot as well. And so your oil on canvas is going to command the highest amount of money. And then after that is going to be oil on paper. And then after that, we'll get into our acrylic on canvas. And what I do is canvas, board, and panel. I price them all the same. And you'll get down into the acrylic on paper. And then you'll finally, after you get into oil pastels, you'll kind of get down into watercolor then.
And maybe graphite drawings.
And that's going to be the lowest, is graphite on paper. So we don't use, we didn't make that up.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So this is something that it's just inherent in the art market, which is why some artists will think, okay, I do want to get gallery representation. I do graphite on paper. Well, it might be kind of difficult to find a gallery to represent you because they cannot charge as much for that.
And they may not have the clientele that comes in looking for an oil painting.
That's exactly right.
Really quick, there's a question about where do photos fit on that hierarchy?
I just saw that, and I don't really have an answer for that. I know that there are, of course, photos in museums and very important photographs. We don't do photography, so we can't really speak to photos, but I can certainly find out. But then I'm also going to ask that person and other photographers, check out your photo galleries, because there are galleries that only handle sales of photography.
Yeah. So that's a good source. We have good friends who aren't nothing but fine art photographers. And it's pretty amazing. And I don't like to put them in comparison with oil paintings. It's a little bit different technology.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
It's not fair to the photographer. All right.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Thank you. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, Kelly.
Really quick, there's a couple of questions about like depth of canvas. Should there be a difference in 3/4 inch or 2-inch canvases?
Good question. I'm going to say this. No.
No, I don't think so either. There will be some artists that will wrap the image around. And Bob used to do that until he realized that it was just taking way too much time. Way too much time.
And it's sold for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So,
We sell just from the front.
Okay.
We'll take the measurement just from
the front.
the front.
The sides are usually a soft gray type of a color, just so it emphasizes the front.
Exactly. So if we're pricing one of those 2.5-inch deep ones, those super deep ones, and a 3/4 inch, they're going to be the same price.
Really quick, also, we just want to clarify that the pricing is not to include any framing or
Correct.
That's
glass
great.
or
No, I'm not in the framing business, and neither are you. Think about that.
And we will get into that because you add that to your base price. So right now we're just going after the price of the artwork.
The retail price.
Yeah, retail price.
Retail price.
Retail price.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I saw a question about collage. I may as well address it here because I do collage too. I don't believe we add more to a collage. It's just that that's my technique. Acrylic paint and collage and glues. And so, I mean, that's what I use. So it's not more valuable. I don't believe that I could charge more just because it has some paper on it.
I go for simplicity. I go for easy. And that is one of the reasons why when we first started developing a price list, I was great with having just 2 different pricing structures. One for works on paper, and then the other for works on canvas, board, and wood panel, because that's all of the other substrates basically. If I tried to say, well, the canvas has more historical component and I'll price that like 5%, it would just turn into a nickel and dime nightmare to where, well, this one would be 1,000 and this one would be 1,010, or, you know, just crazy talk. So I lumped that together. And then when Bob started adding more collage, I thought, okay, the way that he's using collage, it is as a source of paint layers. And so I just kept it in as the acrylic and didn't try to create another pricing structure. Yeah, it made it easier for me. I felt like I could justify it better in my mind, and I can explain it to the customer if things come up, because that's the whole thing. If you can talk to your customer about your work and say, well, this piece, it's oil, this piece is acrylic, oil is this price, acrylic is this price, or this is on paper, this is on canvas. You know, as if it's really solid in your way of thinking and you can explain it, you've justified it. It'll be perfect.
Without a long explanation, they're not going to follow you if you try to explain it.
Exactly. So here's the thing I like to say: your price is your price. Your price is your price.
You mean no matter where you sell it?
Yep.
Oh.
And we will get into that.
Okay.
We will get into that. And yes, I just saw somebody say, no, in collage, they say mixed media. We do that too. We'll say mixed media, or we'll say acrylic and collage. You know.
If it helps you sell the piece, then fine.
Absolutely.
It's a description of what you're doing.
Absolutely. And so when you first develop your price list, so you've gone out, you visited galleries, you've been to artist studios, you're looking at people's pricing, you're comparing them to you know, and you're looking at experience, you're looking at sizes, you're looking at the substrate, all those things we talked about initially. And then where you fit in is where you think that you're going to be able to start. So if it is $500 for a full sheet of watercolor paper, or if you paint in squares and it's okay, it's $500 for a 20 by 20 square.
It's about right.
Establish what you feel like your base price is, and then you fill out your pricing structure mathematically with the calculator.
I want to make a point of standardize your sizes. Don't have weird sizes all over the place. If you have weird sizes, watch how much it's going to cost you to frame it. If you frame. I don't frame anything. That's not part of what I'm in the business to do.
Yeah, but if you're, I remember we were doing some pretty strange sizes. Yeah, like, you know,
my fault.
5 by 30, you know, just like, oh, let's do this size. I have this piece of paper left over.
I paint on scraps of paper. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, it just makes your customers a little crazy, and it will cause them to spend more money.
Also, it's a lot easier in your own inventory to know where everything is.
That's exactly right.
Small pieces don't get lost.
So when you're thinking about retail, okay, retail is you selling direct to public, and it's really anybody selling to public. So if you also sell through a gallery, you're going to use your retail price list. All right. So this means if the gallery sells your full sheet of watercolor paper for $1,200, if somebody were to come to your studio and buy a full sheet of watercolor paper from you, your painting, it should also be $1,200. You don't deviate from retail, okay? And as you can see, no matter where you sell it, it's going to be the same pricing. It has to be consistent.
You mean New York City is the same price as, say, some place that just had a tornado and the whole town burned down?
Yeah.
It's the same price?
It's the same price. No, because here's the thinking, and this is just crazy. This is crazy thinking. There have been some artists that they'll say, oh yeah, I'm going to have a show in LA. I better jack my prices up, at least double them in LA. My God. No, because what happens when somebody calls you, they'll call you on the phone, or they're going to email you, and they'll say, I'm really interested in this piece you have on your website, or, oh, I saw this piece on Facebook and I really am interested in buying it. How much is it? Do you ask them where they're from? Oh yeah, where are you from? I'll quote you a pro. You don't do that. No, the internet has kind of made this so. It levels the playing field. You don't have different prices around the country. Your price is your price. So if it is $1,200 in your hometown, it's going to be $1,200 wherever you're going to show it. That's how you have the control as the artist. You control your pricing. All righty. So it has to be consistent. And as Bob said, standardize your sizes, because that's going to help to standardize your prices. So the paintings that are all the same size, they're all the same size. They're all on the same substrate. They're basically the same medium. They're going to be the same price.
Even if I work extra long on it?
Yep.
Same price.
Same price. Even if you think that this one is a better painting.
Yeah, right.
It's like, oh, I see this one's $500. This one's $1,000. Why is this one $1,000? Oh, well, it's a better painting.
Shame on you for putting out the lesser painting.
Yeah, don't do that. So you don't raise and lower your prices according to location. You don't raise and lower your prices for anything. You can always raise. Like I said a little earlier, you can always raise your prices, but you don't double. You don't go, oh my God, I sold out my show. Let's just really.
That's what your friends will say. You got to raise your prices. Everything's sold. No, if everything's sold, that's the right price.
That's the right price.
That's the right price.
They're
Congratulations,
selling.
you found the right price.
They're selling. But if they are consistently selling and selling and selling, our rule of thumb, it's pretty easy. 3 years, 10%. Raise 10% after 3 years of good selling. Now, when the art market crashed, when that tech bubble burst, this was before 9/11, everybody who purchased Bob's work they didn't have any money. It was boom, bang. All of the customers disappeared. And then of course it happened again in the pandemic. And I saw a question a little earlier. Did we lower our prices? No, we didn't lower our prices. What we did in that respect is we just held on to the pricing. We did not lower, we did not raise. Bob started working a little smaller, so it looked like the price points came down, but they didn't. It just got into smaller pieces to go into smaller places as people started downsizing away from the really big walls. So that was kind of how we did that sort of thing. So you never lower. You don't want to have your work become like a bargain basement. Red line sales. No, don't start doing that. Don't get into the habit of making deep discounts. We'll get into discounts in a little while, and it will begin to make a lot of sense. So just remember, your price is your price. So after you get that price list developed, and ours is works on paper and works on canvas. So basically I have two separate line items there, and I work them out according to size. Our gallery owner, the commercial gallery owner, her name was Carla. So I'll just refer to Carla because we learned so much from her. What she told us was, make sure you don't have too many sizes. So we cut our sizes down, and instead of having, like 20 different sizes of paper, it ended up being about 8. And then for the way of canvas, we went from, we expanded the canvas more because she was a commercial gallery. She was selling more canvas. So I think we had about 10 sizes of canvas, and then did not deviate from that. It seemed to work so much better, and to standardize everything, I have the list, I knew where to go. So Kelly, let's take the next next slide, excuse me.
Should we talk about studio sales?
We'll get there, Bob.
Okay.
We will get there, Bob. Okay, so here we have a sales receipt. Okay, so you might say, well, why do you need a sales receipt? There's some pretty simple reasons for it, because you want to make sure you know what you have and what you don't have. It tracks your sales. It reconciles inventory. You get collector information. It helps establish your mailing list, and you can write thank you notes. I'm a huge believer in sales receipts because of the paper trail. And then all of that immediately gets keyed into, the thank you note thing, making sure that people are thanked for their purchases, because your next best customer is the one who is your customer right now. Now, this is a sample of a sales receipt, and you'll notice at the bottom of that sales receipt, it says all rights reserved. And what basically that means is you are letting them know that they cannot use the image of your work for anything, that belongs to you, that now you can use that image to make cards and t-shirts and stuff, and any licensing deals that you do.
And you don't have to ask them for permission.
That's correct, but they cannot. If they wanted to use it for something, they'd have to ask your permission to do that.
Mhm.
So this sales receipt, it's a really important little piece of paper. So you want to always remember to have something like that. We had ours made with the duplication paper. And I know when you do receipts that come out of your square or come out of any online or on-site mobile device that you're doing, you don't have stuff like that, but I make sure that I staple that to these because I want to have that paper trail. Collector information is really important. We talked about works on paper, works on canvas. I want to get to the gallery thing a little bit here. Now, somebody had asked initially about, okay, so we don't talk about framing in all of this, that it's just strictly the price of the piece. That is correct. Now, when you have a frame is going to add to the cost, to the retail price, to the cost of your work. A frame is going to add, not be included. Okay. And, here's a beautiful example of this. We were at a show one time, And
Okay.
it was a one artist show. It was all in the same room. I think it was in North Carolina. They had all the pieces were quarter sheets, and they were all beautifully framed, but they were all differently framed too. And I'm walking around, I'm looking at the pieces. And so there's one for $200, and then there's one for $500. And
Same size.
same size. The difference was the extremely ornate frame for the $500 one. And I thought, whoa, this is an expensive frame. You know, because that was the only thing that I could start to think of as to why these two things would be different. So the cost of your frame is going to make a difference, but don't let the cost of your frame skew or dictate or even supersede your retail price. When you give artwork to a gallery, they're going to be selling it on consignment. And so that artwork is going to be signed in under a contract. You're going to give them an inventory sheet of exactly what you're dropping off to this gallery. And you'll have what the retail price is. And then you're going to know what the commission is going to be, because that's going to be part of the contract. And so a lot of galleries, most galleries, will do a 50% commission. So if you have your full sheet of watercolor paper, the retail price of that is $1,200, then you know that the gallery is going to take $600 in a commission, and then you're going to net $600 since the retail price was $1,200. Now, if you have this artwork framed and you give that to the gallery to sell, it's a contractual point that you need to insist that this goes on the contract, that you receive that $600 net to the artist plus the cost of your frame. Don't double your frame. You get the cost of your frame, and you might need to show a sales receipt.
Yep.
So they can see how much you spent on that frame. Now, that equally goes the other way too. If the gallery is in charge of framing your work, then you may see a price deviation when you walk around and look at what they have on the sales slips, on the price tags of your work. You might see that, oh, it's $100 more than I was expecting. Oh, that's cost the frame, right? Then you're not going to get that cost of the frame.
That's right.
Yeah, you're not going to get half
The gallery,
that.
usually a lot of galleries do their own framing too, you know. So they
that-
get
yeah.
the cost of the frame.
So that's something that you as an artist need to insist on when you're working with the gallery on pricing and on your sales and on the contract, because this is definitely a contractual thing. You get the 50% agreed upon, the 50% commission, plus the cost of your frame,
If you supply the frame.
if you supply the frame.
So we
okay.
don't even do the framing, just to take that.
Well, but sometimes
Oh,
it does come up.
yeah.
Sometimes it does come up. Exactly. Now, about galleries and about contracts, I want to say a couple of words about that, because some of you might be thinking, well, I never thought that I could dictate to the gallery what my prices are. And I'm going to say to you, well, yes, of course you can. And this is why you have to be prepared and ready.
And vigilant. I can say the word that.
Vigilant?
Vigilant, yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. So let's say that you're meeting with this gallery for the first time, they have seen your work online. Maybe they went to an art festival or to an open studio and they saw your work there. So basically, when you meet with this gallery for the first time and they're looking at images or they're looking at your artwork, it has to come up about the pricing. Now, some galleries might try to trap you. Other galleries are wonderful to work with. You just have to see what it feels like in your gut, if you're going to be able to trust this gallery or not. As you know, contracts are there for a reason. Contracts help you out of situations, and situations usually are all around money.
Yeah.
So when you are sitting down with this gallery first, they might ask you, well, what do you want for that? What do you want for that painting? And then, you know, you could say, gosh, you know, Kate and Bob, they said that commissions are usually 50%. And well, my retail price, they said to say what my retail price is $1,200. So therefore, I want $600 for that. And they'll go, oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sign here.
So then they'll take your work, and then you'll get a check, and they'll say, oh, we sold your painting, here's your $600. And then later on, you might find out that this gallery sold your work for $2,400 and you got $600. Should you feel upset? At yourself.
At yourself,
At yourself.
because you told them $600.
Oh, I want $600. Okay.
No.
So if you are ever given that question, what do you want for it? You ask them a question instead of answering. What you're going to ask them is, what is your commission percentage? That about says it.
Mm-hmm.
They go, oh, what do you want for it? Oh, well, okay, what's your commission percentage? Now, if they're a good gallery, they'll say, oh, 50%. You say, great. Okay, well, my retail price is $1,200. So that would mean that you'd get $600, I get $600. I'm okay with that. Bingo. If they will not tell you what the commission percentage is, or if they're being cagey in any kind of way, then you get up, you say, thank you so much. I appreciated meeting you, and you get your artwork and you skedaddle on out of there.
Because that's a good word.
Mhm.
Because what else do they got hiding?
Yeah.
You know, if you don't trust them on any level.
And like I said, it's usually about money.
Yeah.
That you need to have that. Yeah. It's so when you are working with a gallery, have all your ducks lined up. Know what your price list is. Don't automatically assume that, okay, this is net to me. No, you work off of retail and say, these are my retail prices. That's why the word retail is so important. So talking about that part of it too, when you are in a gallery, we pay parish calls. We drop in.
Oh, hi. Oh, the artist is here.
We were in the area. And so I have a clipboard, and then I have the clipboard, and I have my inventory there. So I know what they have, and I have my sizes and my prices, and I walk around and I find things.
She checks.
I do.
Some
It's like,
surprise visits.
Okay. I do a little inventory look at. And if anything's missing, then I say, oh, I couldn't find this one.
Where did it go?
Oh,
we just sold it this morning.
Yep.
It's like this is the first time we've ever heard
Yep.
that.
And so, oh, great. Then I'll wait for a check.
I'll just sit right here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to do an inventory reconciliation on the spot.
Yeah.
Because that way it just keeps everybody really honest. And like I said a little earlier, if the money is off a little bit, if you're expecting it to be $1,200 and they're asking $1,500, ask them why. Was it because they framed something? You know, just ask them why. Why is this different?
From my price structure. Yeah.
That this is how you protect yourself. This is how you are able to sleep at night, and maybe they are not. You know, yeah, it's kind of the ugly part of the gallery business, which is why I really like having everything written down, even to the point of the cost of the frame. It's that important. Now, I know that there were some other questions about commission prices, about commission prices, what, and prints. And I wanted to address prints because these are different ones as well. So I know the thing still says sales receipt. I'll get back to that, I promise you. Commission prices, we do raise. For commissions, I go up 25%.
On top of the retail price.
Yeah. And can you guess why I do that? What happens is, maybe you're in your studio and you're working on things and you have your studio all kind of figured out. You have this, you're getting ready for a show, you have this happening, and all of a sudden this wonderful commission request comes in and you want to do it, but it takes you away from your other stuff. You have to move your head into a whole...
Breaks the cadence. You're getting yourself ready for your show opening this Friday night.
And the work still isn't done.
Yeah.
So yes, charge more for a commission.
It's understandable too, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It's totally
I
understandable.
understand that. But you don't have to make a big deal or a big point of it. Your price is your price.
Yep. And so that is when I do deviate. And the other one, if you're doing, if you have a print, if you have a limited edition print or even an open edition print, and mentioned a little earlier in the beginning when we talked about if your sales, if your pricing structure is too low,
It has no value.
people might think it's a print. Because here's the thing, you want to go in between 10 and 25% of your original for a print. So if you're charging $1,200 for an original, and that's a full sheet size, then your print of the same size would be between 120 and 25% of the 1,200. That's not that much. So you want to make sure that you're ready to do prints, that you have enough
Inventory and
well, not inventory so much as enough client base to support the sales of prints. It's hard enough getting a client base to support the sales of your originals. And then you're going to throw prints on top, and you have to make sure that you're at least making enough money to have the prints made. Because you don't want to have your print be $1,200, your original be $1,200, and then your print be
close to it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be close to it. You're in competition with yourself.
And you don't want to be there.
Right.
No, you don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. So Kelly, let's go ahead. Well, no, I'm going to address sales receipts here because some of you are asking, well, where's the disclaimer? The words "all rights reserved" is actually a shortened form of what we have in that box right there.
So
about
there's
sales
no
receipts.
question about it. They see it right at the very beginning. They sign their name. There's no question.
And we have that verbiage that is in that box that is on the back of all paintings. Okay, we have stickers, we have everything, but that goes on the back. Yeah, can't miss it. If there's any other questions about this, Kelly, it's probably a good time to do that before we slip into the next slide.
Yeah, actually there's a lot.
Okay.
Great.
All righty.
Well,
Man, I don't even know where to start. There's been so many.
Okay.
Do you know of a tool or a website to see what current taxes are on art sales and shipping across U.S. states?
I don't know if I know the current one. No. Are they talking about paying different state sales tax?
Yes.
I do not know the current one. No.
Okay. What method of payment works best and easiest for direct sales in a private setting?
Okay, I do a few different ways on our website. I have a PayPal button because you can use PayPal if you don't have a PayPal account. So I do that. We've also had people Venmo, and I send them a Venmo request.
Great. Um, how, I mean, some of these questions are relating to galleries, but how do you address negotiating with galleries, asking permission to discount their art, or alternatively also whether when a gallery asks to list for a much higher price?
Okay,
Duh.
no, this is a great question, and I'll answer this right now. And I'm also going to say, Bob and I are doing a webinar on gallery artist relationships next month. And so I'm not going to go into a lot of depth here. We'll be going into more depth next month with this. But if the gallery wanted to raise prices from the get-go, I have turned galleries down if they wanted to do that, because I knew that it was not going to be a viable thing for us.
It might not last very long, too, and then you have to start
Yeah,
messing
because
around with your prices.
once they want to raise prices, then that means you have to raise prices everywhere. And if you have a network of galleries and one wants to go rogue, that's not going to work for me. And so we've had to part company with some over things like that. I don't know if that's the answer that this particular artist wants, but you have to really think about it. If one gallery wants to really raise prices, you have to think about the rest that you have in your network.
Across the board.
As when you raise prices, I get that 3-year 10% up. It means that not just the new work raises, but everything raises, even stuff that's in your storage that you haven't sold yet, that raises too. So everything does.
We make things real simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. What was the other question about galleries?
On the flip side, what if they want to discount the painting?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
We
no,
both go,
no,
oh, yeah.
no, I remember when she called up.
Yeah, in most gallery contracts, you're going to have a little clause, and I never have problems with this. It's like a wiggle room. It's like a 10% wiggle room that they don't have to call.
If they think they can close the sale without making a phone call to you, you may not even be available. They have permission.
Yeah, you've given them permission, and it's 5% off of their end, 5% off of your end, and woohoo, do it. My thing is, yeah,
A sale's a sale. That's right.
If it's more, then they call me, and I will think about it and talk to them and find out who the client is, and then we'll talk, and we'll have to come to a decision. But yeah, the first one, the 10% is good. Yeah.
Great. That's it for now. Let's move on.
Oh, all right. That sounds great. Yeah, let's go to the next one. I love this part. Excuse me. I have that cold thing that's going around. So if I cough a little bit, sorry about that. So sales tax, layaway, and shipping. This part's fun. And you'll think, why is it fun? Yeah, well, see, somebody has to pay it. Somebody has to pay the sales tax. And you don't include it. Do never, ever, ever include shipping or sales tax in your pricing. Nobody else does. No, dress stores don't do it.
But you're such a nice person. You think no.
What happens is it skews your pricing. So if you have a $1,200 painting, you're going to charge sales tax to that. Okay. You're not going to say, oh yeah, it's not included. No. And so you need to have the addition of that. And honestly, you need to be, you have to practice it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, $1,200 plus
Plus.
sales tax. Yes,
Let-
my retail price is $200 plus the
Shipping.
sales tax.
And then shipping.
And
handling.
plus shipping and handling. Yeah, you know, I'll make a joke out of it. If somebody balks at paying sales tax, I'll say, oh, well, we just give that to our governor.
And that's
The
the
way
end
it
of this
goes.
conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just don't give in. Do not
No.
give in. Yeah. And so many places will ask that you have a seller's permit. So make sure that you have one if you are selling direct to public, as they'll want to have that seller's permit front and center. So you can show that. And, you know, keeping the funds separate is always a good idea, because whether you send in your sales tax annually or you send it in quarterly, you got to have it when it's ready to do the filing.
It's not your money, as
It's
they
not
say.
your money.
Not your money.
Yeah, not your money.
Darn, right?
Yeah, so make sure that you have your sales tax set away. Okay, now, installments. I love layaway.
Mhm.
I absolutely love layaway. Bob and I, we were at a gallery dropping off artwork, and this was a gallery not too far away from us. And so we dropped off the work, and she does have lovely things in there. And so we're looking around, just kind of, and I'm saying to myself, we cannot buy anything. We can't buy anything.
We
can't
usually buy
anything,
something.
We can't buy anything. And so we get to a part where there's this piece, and it was a landscape. It was gorgeous. And we're both looking at it, and we're both looking at each other, and we're looking at it. And the gallery owner comes right over by my ear, and she says, 4 easy payments. And I just went,
Damn it.
sold. Sold. It is a great way to close a sale. If you have somebody on the fence, you can just say, hey, do you want to do layaway? I do layaway all the time. But what really works, number one, you keep the artwork until it's paid in full. You never let that artwork out of your sight until you have all of the money. Number two, have a plan. Let them know it's going to be so much money a month. You know, and what I do on installment payments, I ask for a credit card. I don't do the checks, because, you know, people forget. Checks just sort of go. Ph. So what I do is I do a credit card, and when it comes to the point where that payment date is coming, I send them an email. I let them know that I'm going to process their credit card for the next amount, give them fair warning, and then I do it. And then when it's all over, I'll let them know the final payment's coming up, and here's what your shipping is going to be. So we'll add the shipping to the final amount, because you don't pay, you don't cover their shipping. They pay for the shipping. Always added to the retail price. Okay, so I do really enjoy about the layaway and the shipping. Now, okay, so on our website, we have a section called available work. And this is where people can, they can give me a call, they can text me, they can go ahead and say, great, I want this piece. I can call them, get information from them, get a credit card number that way. Or I can simply just say, great, here's the PayPal button, go ahead and enter this amount. But I'll be able to quote them a shipping cost really quickly. Because, you know, if someone commits to the piece, but then you leave them hanging on because they don't have that shipping cost yet, they could get cold feet and back off. So I want to make sure that I know how much things are going to be. Depending on the size, I know if I can ship either the Postal Service, or if I'm going to ship FedEx, or if I can get a better price with UPS. I'll do my legwork here. If it's a larger piece, more expensive piece, I'm definitely going to go with either FedEx or UPS. We buy double walled
cardboard boxes and a lot of bubble wrap.
Yep.
A lot of bubble wrap.
We do our own boxing because that keeps the cost down. And I'll get back to them just as quickly as I can with the cost of their shipping. Excuse me. Kelly, I was seeing all kinds of questions. Are there more that we should look at for this?
I think you've covered most of them. There is a question about seller's permits.
Mhm.
Is it needed by state, or how does it?
A lot of them are now doing state by state, yes.
Great.
Yeah. Especially if you are physically going to that state. And let's say you're doing art festivals. If you're in a gallery, you do not have to pay the tax from a gallery. The gallery handles that. If it's anything else, though, if it's a festival or an expo, you will be handling the sales tax. Okay. Yeah.
Also, do you need to have a business license to sell your paintings?
Most places do.
Yeah, most places want you to
have a business license.
Yeah.
It just makes it a little more legitimate. Of course, if you're doing outdoor art festivals, they always say yes, a business license, just a
Yes.
matter of filling out a form.
And in some cases, you get a business license just
for
for that particular event. It wouldn't,
carry over into the rest of the year.
right, right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, insurance is kind of the same way
Mhm.
on that too. You get insurance as you need it, and in some cases you get riders if you're needing to insure your work to and from certain places, because your homeowner's insurance will not handle that. Yeah.
And then going back to galleries really quick, at what stage do you ask for a copy of the sales receipt from the gallery?
Oh, from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Some will not give you those. They will fight you tooth and nail because they believe that you're going to go around their backs and
Take their customers and go directly to their clients. Well, what a shady business that's got to be for gallery owners. They're always looking over their back. And we tend to stay away from galleries that have anything that's not up and up. We just don't need that stuff. And there are galleries that try to do all that thinking that you haven't been educated, haven't taken the Bob and Kate course.
that's right. That's right.
Oh my gosh, they've taken the Bob and Kate course. They know what they're talking about. Yeah, right. Most artists haven't had this opportunity. So, and yeah, we know galleries that take advantage of that.
Yep, they do. They do.
Shame on them. All right.
There was a question about how do you figure out the shipping? Was there something like that there, Kelly?
Yeah, they where have you found the best shipping prices, and just where have you found the best shipping prices, I guess.
You know, I check FedEx and I also check UPS. They're pretty similar. I had a really large piece that I was shipping up to the Tahoe area, and UPS gave me the better price. So I think it might just depend. It depends on the size, and it depends on the destination, believe it or not.
Oh, here it
you
is.
don't-
It was in the part of the other shipping question was in the chat. How do you calculate the shipping, and have you just simply become familiar with the weight of each size?
Well, just by doing it,
We weigh 'em.
doing it, and doing
We
it.
weigh them.
Yeah.
We still weigh them.
And you know, I'll say this too, because Bob works in standard sizes. I'll kind of know that the 20 by 20 wrapped up in bubble wrap and put into this kind of box is going to weigh so much, because I've done it. And I've done it more than once, and then I'll write it down.
Yeah.
And having just that will make it simpler, because then you drop in your shipped from and then the destination, and then that will kind of give you what that is. And all of your shippers, they're going to have a button that says calculate, and so you can always do a dummy without filling out all of the paperwork to get a calculation on what the shipping is going to be.
Great. Let's move on for now.
Oh, somebody mentioned pirate ship. Yes, I love pirate ship. I use pirate ship for all of our international stuff. Yes, pirate ship is fantastic. And they'll give you a rundown of all the different shippers. Yeah, love them. Okay, let's go to the next one. Yeah, woohoo. Okay, this is another one of my faves here. You know, there are always people. Always people.
They're always looking for a deal. Yeah. The whole life is looking for a deal. Not one of my favorite kind of people, but wait, that's the looking for a deal. And they're going to approach you because you're an artist and you don't deserve to make money and make a living. And you're an ignorant artist, and we know how to move you people around. Yeah, all right. No.
Oh, Bob's never encountered this, has he?
No,
No, ever. Discounts are an interesting thing, because it happens in galleries a lot. People will want to know, well, and they'll try to dicker, and it just happens. But when you're in an art festival, or you're even in your studio, people think nothing of asking you to lower a price. Is this the best you can do?
And I say, this is the best painting I've done. End of subject.
End of subject. I generally do not offer discounts. It's funny. People will come up, especially on the art festival circuit. You know, there are 3-day festivals, 2-day festivals. That last day, the sharks come out, and you know, they're just going around
Different booths. Yeah.
because they'll say, oh, you don't want to take that home now, do you? And I'm thinking, yeah, you know, I kind of do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use it for the next one. So they're hoping to get you in a weak moment. But if you have this in mind, know that it's illegal, basically, to charge one customer a lower price than another on the same product. And it is a federal act. It's the Robinson-Patman Federal Act, designed to prevent unfair price discrimination.
I bet you didn't know any of this.
I
think you should say that again, because it's such a strong piece of information.
Yep, it is.
Discounts.
Yep. And so there are ways around this. There's a few things now, and we'll talk about these just briefly because they're so cool, and I want to make sure we have time for questions. So you can discount second pieces. So if somebody is buying multiples from you, you can discount the second piece.
If you think you can close a sale, you can do this.
Yeah, but you don't have to.
Mhm.
Now galleries interpret this a little differently, and I like their interpretation. So discount second pieces. It doesn't really say when. Does it have to be second pieces right then? What if you have this great customer that buys from you every year? Can you discount? I do. It doesn't matter if the second piece was a year apart from the first one.
And besides, we like that person. Well,
I don't have a problem discounting that way. Galleries will discount if they have a returning customer. And I think that that's kind of cool. I don't often initiate that myself, but if it's a great customer, you bet I'm going to.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody has cash rather than a credit card, you know, you can discount that 2% up to 4%, you know, for that rather than the credit card amount that they add. And you don't have to offer a discount, not a bit. This will, I hope, give you some power behind that feeling of, oh gosh, I guess I have to offer a discount. You don't.
No, you don't.
You don't. And you know, it's funny when some people say, well, is this the best you can do? Or, well, can you discount this a little bit? Sometimes I'll say, you know, I will pay the sales tax. In California, that's 7.25%. That's better than 10%. And you know, people like that. People don't like paying taxes. So if they know that you're going to pay it.
You're a team player
Yeah.
too. You know, okay, they're good people.
Now that discount, that's going to skew my price list. That means that I'm going to realize less money. But if it's going to close the sale or make my returning customer happy, I'll go ahead and pay that.
So cash in hand.
Yep.
Discount second prices.
Yep.
Whether it's a year later.
Well, that's what I do.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
what
That's
I do.
what Kate does.
That's what I do.
I can't remember.
So yeah, and you know, discounts are fine. If it's a layaway, no, I don't discount a layaway because you're getting your money not all at once, but you're getting it in chunks. Okay, all righty, let's go to the next slide. This is our last slide, and we throw this in just as a fun thing. And commission artwork, we mentioned that I bumped the price up 25% for all commissions. And commission artwork, you can increase your sales if you're open to doing commissions. Just as an artist who is out there, open studio, maybe an art festival or two, locally showing, if you offer commissions, you can increase your potential.
Absolutely.
And galleries love it because then they would have something else that they can
add
offer.
to that, to that page. And do you know that you go down to the studio, and it gives us something more stuff to talk.
Yeah.
Keep the buyer on the floor, so to speak. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And in this, we have a form. Now, if you've been to a lot of these with us, you know that I like structure. I like having a plan and a strategy all mapped out, because then there's confidence behind that. I feel like if I'm aware that I have these forms in place, then I feel good about imparting this to the customer. Same thing with commissions. We don't do them loose and easy. It's not a, oh, sure, I'll do this for you, but it's written down.
Did you hear that word, written down? We actually have a form.
And now you do too.
And now you do too, right? And usually, let me tell you what a commission is not. I love doing commissions, by the way. It's almost like you're getting a school assignment or something like that, right? And so if someone looks at your painting and they say, geez, I really like that painting. The next time you do something like that, maybe I might buy it. Is that a commission? No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, my other favorite one. I really like that painting. Do you have one in a smaller size? It's always my favorite one.
Sure. Let me just.
Size 8.5? No. No. It's very specific for a very specific client. So yeah, someone says, we'd like you to do a commission. First of all, everyone, listen up. They already like you. They already like your work. This is not the time to freak out and do something different. They already like you. They wouldn't ask you to do a commission. Then I pull out my little piece of paper that has all the questions on it. Things like, what size is it? Is it vertical? Is it horizontal? Is there a focal point? Do you want me to match your sofa? Give me a swatch.
We're into success. So we want the paint samples. We want the furniture swatches. We do. We do.
That's my challenge, right? And you get the information. By the way, the people that fill this out, it's not a whole family. You don't bring in the mother-in-law. It's between two people. It's two people. And you say, yes, very good. I understand my assignment. And it is your policy to collect 50% down deposit at the very beginning. Why don't you take it from here?
Sure. And you want to, after that 50%, then you're going to get started on the work. Let them know that they can come by and visit the studio at any point. And then when Bob does a commission, what he does when it's all done, we collect the final 50%, and only the people who are the decision makers see it first. That seems to be a more intimate way of doing it. They can have their big unveiling parties afterwards. We just want it to be between Bob and the people who are the customers. Now, I just saw one of the questions up there. Is it non-refundable? Yes, that's correct. It is non-refundable. So we hope you have enjoyed this Art of Pricing webinar. It's definitely an art when you're getting ready to price your work. Now, before you leave, fill out this survey. And I'm going to keep talking about some things while you're doing this. Because again, like Kelly said, this makes sure that we can come back, because we do want to come back. What we do with all of our pricing information is I keep a list. I keep it on the computer. I send it out. If you go on our website and you check in the available work, you can see an example of different pieces of the same size for the same price. I think that out of everything that we've had to, that we've talked to you about today, I would say the biggest homework assignment, the first one would be figure out what your base price is. That's going to be for perhaps the size that you work the most in, the size that you're most comfortable in working in. And then figure that out. Like, that's why we were saying full sheet of watercolor paper for $1,200. So then after that, it's all math. So that's your first homework assignment, is just get your pricing structure out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Have the confidence behind that. And if any of you didn't get questions answered, Kelly's going to send those to us, and we'll get your questions back to you with your answers. Okay, and I look forward to seeing you all in next month's webinar about the gallery artist relationship. I love working with galleries. It can be tricky sometimes, but we'll tell you what worked for us with that. Of course, the whole pricing thing kind of dovetails into that too, but since we're not going to be focused on pricing at the next one, you'll get more of a gallery centric information. Yeah.
So the thing you walk away with today is learn to say, geez, how much is that? And you can say, my retail price is $1,200, and then zip it after that. Whoever talks after that's going to lose. But wait a minute, you give me a deal, I can count two for the price of one. And
Oh my goodness.
You talk yourself out of every sale.
That's right.
You talk too much.
Yep. Artists talk too
My
much.
retail price is $1,200, and then smile after you say that.
Thank you, everybody. Kelly, are there any other questions?
Yeah, while we're filling out the survey, let's get some other questions answered. There's one that's come up a couple times. Price difference between glisse
Clay?
clay versus like laser prints.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Laser prints are worthless.
Mm.
Don't do them.
Yeah, if you're talking about a laser print from just a printer, no. A giclée is a
archival.
yeah, it's an
based.
archival piece of artwork that's it's a big inkjet basically.
And we're known with inks that do have some archivalness to them.
Exactly.
But the problem with the giclées, they just don't have enough history yet. Well, they haven't been out long enough, so to speak. So yeah, we just don't really get involved in that. That's why
we have a number of
we have
giclées.
a few. We thought we'd do that in the early days, but right now I'm just painting originals, and it takes that whole equation out of this whole thing.
Another question that came up is, do you do international sales?
Oh yeah.
Somewhat. Yeah, some Canada primarily. Yeah.
So if you go further overseas, no comment?
Not not too much. Well, we'll sell products like Bob's color wheels and books and things like that. We'll sell products abroad, but not too many pieces of artwork.
Just too costly and dangerous sending artwork back and forth, that kind of thing.
Another interesting question that came up was, as an instructor, if you do a demonstration in a classroom setting, do you price that piece differently from studio work?
It depends. It does depend.
If I like them.
Generally they will be according to the price list.
Yeah.
If somebody, if he's just getting started and it's clearly not finished, but they have fallen in love with it and they want it just as it is, then I will discount it. I will deviate from price list because I know that it is clearly not completed. But the customer is always right, And
I let Kate handle that. I'm too emotional about it.
A fun question is, to close out our webinar today, is what are your thoughts on the NFT art world?
Oh, they can have it. I think it's crazy. I think it's nuts. Absolutely. Oh man, I love it. Yeah, funny question. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time, and especially to Kate and Bob for today's webinar. Just want to thank you for such a great talk as always. I want to remind everyone that today's webinar was brought to you by West Business Development Center, where we offer free business advising to entrepreneurs, small businesses, and sole proprietor artists who may have questions about running their business, art business. So if you'd like your free consultation, please sign up to be our client by visiting our website or calling our office. Now, if you're not local to us in the Mendocino Lake County region, there are small business development centers and women's business centers all over California to get you started on your business journey. I currently have up the women's business centers all throughout California, and some addresses for the Northern California regional centers. Now, if you're not in California, there are small business development centers all over the state. Just check out SBDC and find one local to you. And if you have enjoyed this webinar and would like to see more coming up, please take a look at our schedule on our West website to attend another webinar. And you can also view the past webinars, including all the ones that Kate and Bob previously did, for any that you might have missed. And you can find that under our workshops and filter for on-demand videos. Thank you again, everyone. I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you at our next one. Thank you, Kate and Bob.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Kelly,
everybody.